On behalf of all the organizers, I want to warmly welcome you to this seminar or this meeting and listening to your remarks and having the discussions. I also would like to convey our warmest congratulations for the very well-deserved prize. For me as an economist, it's particularly interesting to learn about what you have done, because it is, of course, you have done a lot of good for a lot of people, but I think you have also demonstrated in a very clear way the very important role in economic development of well-designed institutions in a very, very important way. And I think that will have long-lasting influence on the way we think about economic development, and that is very important, I think. So with this said, I again would like to warmly welcome you and also remind you of something that I was told to tell you, namely that all your cell phones have to be switched off. And then I give the floor to Professor Anders Flodström, the president of the Royal Institute of Technology. Thank you.
Dear Professor Yunus, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here, and it's great to have this undertaking, getting you here together with the Tellberg Foundation and the Stockholm School of Economics. And you know, I think if you were to become a professor in Sweden, you would be a perfect professor for a joint professorship between the Stockholm School of Economics and the Royal Institute of Technology. Because you have the background in microcredits and economy, educated, I guess, with your PhD from Vanderbilt, but you also have a background which has not been talked so much about in technology, because you're also a father of introducing telecommunication, fisheries, and sewer systems in Bangladesh. And I think this mix of socio-economic technology systems is going to create this new world, and I think you really are one of the leading persons in this. And when I look at your CV, I mean, I could stand there for a long time. You have won very, very many prizes, and as you said yourself during lunch, being a Nobel laureate is still the best you can have. But I cannot count them all. But I noticed that you, among other things, also started out as a scout. And I think that's a very good beginning in this case. And I also know that you played an important role in the liberation war of Bangladesh. And so you are what you call a prime citizen in all aspects. But you know, I think this Peace Prize is a change in what will happen in this world. I think it's something going on, but your prize, Grameen Bank Prize, really signifies this development, and that is a change in view upon poor people in the world. From being a burden, someone to contribute to poor people is a resource. They will be able to contribute to the development of this world. And when you give them the opportunities, the creativity among poor people is just as great as among people on the top of the pyramid. And since there are so many, I think they will be much of the new creativity in this world. And I think we'll see very much of the new technology, new economic system, new things that are happening. And I think this development will actually just take a very dynamic pace right in the future. I can also see it among my students studying for engineering, the interest in finding creativity in using technology, not creating a large-scale infrastructure, but creating small-scale infrastructure that are just as usable as the large one, will be the new trend. And I think this will be the new world. And as you state, if we can get rid of the poverty, if we can make the poor people to consumers, business women, and so on, this will be a much more peaceful world. So you will be able to express these thoughts much better than I can do. I'm very glad to have you here, and it will be interesting and very rewarding to listen to you. So please welcome to Stockholm, to Royal Institute of Technology, Stockholm School of Economics, and a great thanks to Bo Ekman and Telbar Foundations for helping us out in this. And we're also, of course, glad that our Ministry of Foreign Affairs have been so grateful to take care of you in such a good way and also participating here. So, welcome up.
Thank you, Professor Florstrom. Thank you for a very generous introduction. I'm very happy that the Nobel Peace Prize has been given to us. This has lifted the spirit of all the people in Bangladesh, and it has excited all the people who are involved in microcredit all over the world. And suddenly everybody feels that he or she got the Nobel Prize, both in Bangladesh and in the microcredit area, wherever they work. And even the borrowers, just because Grameen Bank got the Nobel Peace Prize, and that bank is owned by the borrowers themselves, all the 7 million borrowers of Bangladesh feel they got the Nobel Prize, legitimately so, they got it. And we brought their representatives who sit in the board of Grameen Bank, 9 of them. They are borrowers in various villages of Bangladesh. They came with us to Oslo to receive the prize. And on their behalf, one of them, Taslima Begum, she received the Nobel Peace Prize. So when standing there in front of the whole audience in the ceremony, that is a new message to the world, that even the poor woman from a poor country like Bangladesh can have the capability of standing up to the world and receive the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know who is more honored, whether she is honored or the Nobel Peace Prize is honored by her presence, that she accepted it. Because now you can look at the woman that we will be talking about in a completely different context. These are women who are capable of going up to that height. Our work, many of you are familiar. We started out with the question, why can't we lend money to the poor people who have to borrow from moneylenders and make their life miserable by borrowing from moneylenders? If you borrow from moneylenders, your life is almost finished. The kind of extraction that system introduces to you. But we talk about it, we write about it, we read novels about it, we see play about it, we talk about giving pound of flesh about it, but nothing gets done. So we got involved accidentally, not that that was a pre-planned or a noble design or anything, but we were forced into a situation in Bangladesh to do that. And it looked like very simple solution. That's why stepped in very easily. When identified the problem in the village next door to the university campus, I did it through listing the people who are borrowing from moneylenders. And there were 42 people who borrowed from the moneylenders. Total money needed or borrowed by them was $27. That is the shock of a life of a professor of economics who handles in the textbook, in a classroom situation, in millions of dollars and billions of dollars of planning and so on, but never have a case of $27 for 42 people. So I thought it is such a simple thing, I can solve it right away, just giving this $27 from my pocket. and giving it back to those moneylenders who lend the money to these 42 people, and they will be free. And they were exactly free when these $27 were returned. That created such an excitement. And that got me in more. The question came that if you can make so many people so happy with such a small amount of money, why don't you do more of it? So I wanted to do more of it. And I thought there is a simple solution to that too. Why don't I go to the bank and connect them to the bank, and the problem is over? I was innocent. I went to the bank and with enthusiasm proposed it. Bank manager fell from the sky. He couldn't believe that I even said that. He repeatedly explained to me that that's not bank's business to lend money to the poor people. The more I insisted, the more he became agitated in explaining why a bank cannot lend money to the poor people, and the more it sounded ridiculous to me. So we could not communicate. Now looking back, if he had lent money out of his generosity or whatever reason, I wouldn't be in microcredit today. It will be over at that time because they gave money and that's the rest of his business. But he did not. So it agitated me and I continued to argue, and finally after several months, I resolved it by offering myself as a guarantor. I said, I signed paper, take your risk, save all your rules, and give the money. It happened in 1976, and it worked. That's why we got the microcredit, it expanded. On the way, we created Grameen Bank. Today, Grameen Bank is a big bank in Bangladesh. Microcredit is extended all over the world. But what is it that we really did? Is it just the smallness of the money? Is it because we lend money to the woman? Or what else? Is it the same thing that if today Deutsche Bank or Citibank or HSBC Bank went and gave tiny money, will it become microcredit? Not in our way of doing it. Because it's not lending small money. It's a whole system has changed. Because the conventional banking system is based on collateral. When you look at collateral, it almost tells you or keeps you telling that the basic principle behind it, the more you have, the more you can get from us. If you are rich, we'll make you richer. If you are the richest, our doors are open for you. And the corollary of it, if you have little, you get nothing. If you have nothing, of course, it doesn't open our door. So we took from there, we create something else. Reverse that principle by saying that if you have less, we give high priority to you. If you have nothing, we give you the highest priority. So the collateral is out. We brought in something else that our focus is on people who do not have anything. In conventional banks, you have to go and explain to them that how much expert you are in doing the business you do and get their confidence level up so that they can give you the money. In our case, we go to the woman. Her immediate response is, oh no, don't give the money to me. I don't know anything. Give it to my husband. He's the one who handles money. But we don't give up. The more she says, I don't know anything, more excited we get. This is the person we are looking for. Because if I make her do something, that will be the most fascinating thing in the world, most rewarding thing in the world. Because she says she knows nothing. Because in the heart of my heart, I know she knows a lot, but she is not aware of it. And that is the core of Grameen Bank. our faith in the creativity, in the power of each human being. And we believe all human beings are packed with enormous creativity, enormous potential. But funny, we created a society where most of the people do not have the opportunity to unwrap that gift that we have inside of us. Never could even take a peep that what is it? Christmas is coming, you know how to peep. Every kid wants to peep into the box what is inside. But unlucky for us, we have not been able to create a society where we allowed people to unpack and go into action. He or she doesn't even know that it exists in them, but it is there. So that's the struggle, how to make persons, enable person to at least unleash a little bit of his or her capacity. And that little money that we give, that allows the person to unleash that capacity and move ahead with that. And conventional banks focus on men. We decided to focus on women. And that came as out of a controversy that I built up in Bangladesh against the banks, when I said, not only you are unfair, conventional banks, you are unfair by rejecting the poor people, you are unfair again by rejecting women, women of all financial ability. You don't give loans to women. They were very unhappy at that, my allegation. But their record, they could not change. Their record shows that not even 1% of their borrowers happen to be women. So no way they can deny the charge. So when I began, I wanted to make sure I don't face that accusation against me. I want to make sure half the borrowers in my program are women. And I did it. It took a long time because women said, no, don't give it to me. But I didn't give up, continued to pursue. It took us 6 years. Finally, we made it happen. We had 50% of our borrowers as women. We celebrated. We found it fascinating thing that we did that. But then we noticed that money going to the family through women brought so much more benefit to the family compared to the money that we gave to men. So there are a long list of differences between the two results. Impact in the family. Impact through the women is much higher than the impact through men. So we changed our policy. We said, what is so great about 50-50? Let's concentrate on women because they bring the maximum benefit to the family. So we went for that and gradually moved quickly from 70%, 80%, 90%, 95%. Today, Grameen Bank has 7 million borrowers, 97% of them are women. And they own the bank, so it makes a completely different kind of picture. So this is the difference, the points of differences. Not only we have non-collateralized bank, also there is no legal instrument. There is no paper, various pieces of paper that sometimes you are asked to fill in when you have to borrow money from a bank so that they are well prepared to take you to the court and show the document that you have tied yourself completely, you can't run away from them. We dispense with this. We said, we don't need it, we don't have to tie up anybody. We can be clean and it worked. So we don't have those papers. So it's a whole banking based on pure trust, nothing else. No collateral, no legal instruments, no guarantee, no joint liability, nothing. I think a conventional bank will have nightmare thinking thinking that he or she gave a loan without any papers, without all those things that are so dear to them. But we do it every day and it works out. And it's a very common practice in banking. When you borrow, when you want to go to borrow, they want to check you out, your credit records. How many places you borrowed money, how many times you failed to pay back, how many times you got into financial trouble, all kinds of records. So there's a business running around to give reports on you, your credit rating. In our case, we don't investigate your past at all. We said, your past is not our business. Our business is your future. We look at you as a freshly born child, no problem with us. You can do whatever wrong things you have done in the past, but that will not hold against you. We will begin a new life with you. It's up to you to keep it clean. It's up to you to close it down. It's your business. Even if you have criminal records, that will not scare us, because that's something else people have to resolve on their own. There's a legal system, there's other systems which will take care of them. Our system is, you are looking for income. We want you to have a reasonable possibility that you can create your own income with your own self-employment. So we can almost say that past is past. Let's concentrate on future. And this is how we do. And still we get our money 99% back, and it works out very well. We have concentrated on income generating activity, and then we added other pieces. We added housing loans. We added student loans. That is also a fascinating thing, student loans, because we have been in this business for 30 years now. And we, right from the beginning, we try to understand the life of the poor people. Our interest is always with the people, not the money. Money was a vehicle to connect us with them. But it is the person. Our goal is to help the person get out of poverty. So we always try to understand her life. Even the first book we published on our bank was a book of life stories of our borrowers. And it became almost a bestseller in Bangladesh. Just the life stories. Each one is a fascinating story, how life can be so difficult for a human being. It's a story of thrill, story of frustrations, a story of tension and misery. There were only 16. We have hundreds and hundreds of those life histories. But we were touched by those life histories so much, we decided to publish them. So we put 16 of them in a book. We said life histories of Jorimon. Jorimon was one of those women who, Jorimon of Beltoil village, that was the name of the book. Faces of Poverty. And people read it, and people have been calling me. This was in 1982, even before we became a bank. We have not become a bank yet. So many people called me up later on, wrote to me that I couldn't stop shedding my tears reading this book. Then it gave me another feeling. People can shed tears privately. But when it comes to our personal life, when everyday life, we forget all about it. We can go on with our life. There's a kind of a dichotomy between these two. These are real people, and we are real people. At one point, we get together, we shed tears, then we go our separate ways. We can't mix. That's where we go wrong in our society. We can't get connected, remain connected with each other. What we did in early years, not yet bank yet, it's still a project. We held a series of meetings of groups of women to discuss about their life, because we thought we are not qualified to think about their life because we have not gone through their experience. Let them talk about it. What do they see that terrifying things about their life, what they see as exciting things about their life, problems about their life. In the process, we have done it over years, they came up with simple resolutions, simple decisions that we should do this and we should do this to make a better life for us. Gradually, we kind of sew them together and we call them 5 decisions, 10 decisions, each year adding more and more decisions. In 1984, we had 16 of them. And we pleaded with them, let's not add any more decisions, let's just stop here and let's concentrate on implementing them. So ever since they are implementing them, it's called 16 decisions. Very simple decisions like we shall grow vegetable all year round and eat plenty of it and sell the surplus. This was in response to night blindness of the children of the families of Grameen Bank. At that time, in early 1980s, night blindness was a common disease among the children of poor people. Everywhere we go, we see children can't see anything after sunset. They get blind. And it was new for us. We didn't understand why it happens. So we talked to the doctors and so on. They said it's a vitamin A deficiency. We went through a lot of discussions. Finally, we found a way out ourselves. There are other alternatives, but we took this alternative, that if the children eat vegetables regularly, they will have plenty of vitamin A, their night blindness will be over. So we concentrated on that. We started selling penny packets of seeds, very good quality seeds, packaged in one. We packaged it ourselves, put into little packets, priced them as 1 penny or something like that, make it available to our branches. They will love to buy this and plant it, had plenty of vegetables. Soon, night blindness became a history. It doesn't exist anymore in Bangladesh. It's gone. So this was part of 16 decisions. So that this is what we shall do, and they did, and they overcame. Another decision is we will dig a hole and use it as a pit latrine. And as soon as possible, we will have a sanitary latrine. Again, it came from the fact that people are excreting out right in the open, everywhere. 60% of the people in Bangladesh just went out in the open every day. There was nothing to protect, and it has spread disease everywhere. So we tried to bring it to their notice, and they debated and discussed and so on, and came out with a solution themselves that they can live with. It will not cost them any money. All they have to do is to dig a hole and use it as a pit latrine. And for the first time, they had to go in one place. They said, we never did that. We always in a different place. And it was quite an experience for them. And you know, women loved it. And I never realized what a cruel thing it was, the custom for women. One woman came rushing to me in early years, still 83, 84. She hugged me in front of the whole village. And I felt very embarrassed because in Bangladesh, women don't touch men. Women stay away, cover their face. That's the time. She came rushing, she hugged me. And she was saying something, I couldn't understand a word. And finally, one of my colleagues who could understand her dialect explained to me, she's saying, you are a savior. You have saved us women from the punishment of hell, literally translated. So I couldn't understand. I said, what did I do? So he asked her, what is it that he did? Oh, you created those pit latrines. I said, how did pit latrine got to do with the punishment of hell? So she explained in her words, see, we women have to wait until the sunset. We cannot go out. Whatever trouble you have in your stomach, you can't do it because it's not proper for a woman to go out. So we have to wait for the darkness of night. We talk a lot about sanitation on health grounds.